and space-time in the subconscious that can be trained to go out and gather data?
Piece of cake, no problem. Yes, absolutely yes. And in fact, in things like dreams and all, your subconscious moves through time and space all the time anyway. And if you can take that inner child, get it to mature by giving it some responsibilities and let it grow up into an adult, then what's going to happen is it will learn to focus in on any one space and, dot in space and time and give you detailed information about that one little dot. Or if you have a whole process, you want to know the entire process that caused something in history to happen, your subconscious can focus on that alone and give you the information for that.
So could it be said, Lyn, that there's really nothing in history that can't be known, the factual side of it?
Absolutely true. Now, that brings up another point about remote viewing, though, and any psychic work, in fact. We can know it, but, the first caveman, okay, what was his name? Well, we can find that out, but there's no feedback. We can't prove it. And this is one of the things that psychics, remote viewers, and everyone faces, that you have knowledge that there is no proof of. And you look at history. You may find out something that's absolutely opposed to what's written in the history books. The history books are written by the victors.
Yeah.
And so there's no proof that you're right. And so we have to find a way to know how dependable a remote viewer is. And here again, it comes back to science. We give targets for practice and training that we have complete information about. We get a remote viewer to describe a place or a person or a thing or whatever, and then we take out the feedback at the end of the session, immediate feedback, and we score every single perception that they had, right or wrong, and so forth. And we develop a track record for that viewer. How good are they at colors? How good are they at shapes? How good are they at sizes? And so forth. As we develop this track record, we develop a dependability record. And that is, you give someone a target, let's say, on the surface of Mars. Well, don't have feedback right now. However, we can look at your dependability rating and look at the different perceptions you gave and know how much we can depend on you to be correct.
Very much like martial arts training, which is visible very quickly.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the potential abuses of those that get really good at it?
Well, you really can't. When I teach my classes, I teach remote viewing to the public now. When I teach my classes, I put in some subliminals that if I catch somebody using this to hurt people, to do damage to other people, I have a little trigger word that will make them lose total interest in remote viewing and just stop doing it.
You mean it's a kind of implant into the subconscious as part of the filtering of the training?
Of my training.
Yeah, of your training.
I was trained in subliminals in the military.
Talk about what that is. Can you talk about that?
Subliminals are those things which are below your level of awareness.
Are they commands?
Oh, they can be, sure. Uh-huh. There are things in your conscious mind that you're not aware of, like what you're seeing out of the corner of your eye right now. You weren't aware of that until I mentioned it, but it was there. And I don't know if you've seen Darren Brown on the TV shows or not, but he does some amazing things with subliminals to control people to the point where they will just hand him all of their car keys, their wallet, and everything else, and it's all subliminals. And so anyway, the only subliminals that I use when I train is the one subliminal of that trigger word, that if I catch somebody hurting somebody with the remote viewing, then I will find some way to get that trigger word to them, and they will just lose interest and quit. The control over what people do with this, I really don't have any control over it, and I really don't want to, because for me that's taken away personal freedoms. But when it comes to hurting somebody with anything I teach, I have just decided I'm not going to have my life's work used to hurt people. And that's a personal thing. I tell everybody about it when we start the class. I get their okay to put in the subliminals, and I do. Because I'm not going to have my life's work used to hurt people. Simple as that.
Skip Atwater sat you down one day during your training and said to you that it's really okay to be psychic. Why did he say that to you?
Excuse me. They had done some background investigation, of course, before I ever got to the unit. I mean, by the time I got to the unit, I'd probably been investigated so severely that they, knew everything about me. But I had PK events and psychic events all through my life, and had tried to suppress them. I had done everything I could. When I was very small, I was having these PK events, psychokinetic events, mind over matter.
Right.
And I was showing off for the cute little redheaded girl one day, and, my life is in many ways like Charlie Brown's. And and so she went home and was very impressed. She went home and told her father, the Pentecostal minister, and the next day he and 3 of his deacons met me on the sidewalk going home from school, asked for a demonstration, and the minute I gave a demonstration, they had me down on the sidewalk with their hands pressing my face into the sidewalk, screaming for the devil to come out of me, and just scared me half to death. And so from then on, I had tried to stop it. And there was this event over in Augsburg, Germany, where I was stationed in the military, where I had gotten just violently angry at another sergeant and destroyed millions of dollars worth of computers. And so the commanding general of the Intelligence and Security Command came out. He said to me, he got right up in my face and scowled, and he said, "Did you kill my computers with your mind?" And I just kind of heard myself say, "Yes, sir, I did." I was standing there thinking, my great-grandchildren are going to be paying for computers. And when I said, "Yes, sir, I did," this grin went across his face, and he said, "Far effing out, have I ever got a job for you?" He wanted to take me back to D.C. to start a military unit which would destroy enemy computers, and hopefully, over time, learn how to control the information in them rather than destroy them. And so we got back there to D.C., and he went before Congress to get the funding, and Congress said, "That's mind control," and so no. Congress had been caught on mind control things before, and they didn't want to have that happen again. But they said that's mind control, so absolutely not. And so I was there in D.C. without an assignment, and so General Stubblebine just put me into the remote viewing unit. And that was on April Fool's Day, 1984. And so I went out to this little unit out in the woods here in this old splinter-type World War II buildings. And they read me on to the project. Reading you on is where they tell you what the project is and make you sign your life away if you ever, tell anybody until it's declassified and all. And so they started telling me what the unit was and what the unit did. And I thought, what a nice general to give me